Alright, mapagpalang hapon po sa ating mga tagapakinig. Welcome po sa ating programang Sulong na Bayan. At syempre tayo po'y nadinig sa iba't mga panig ng mundo. So good morning, good afternoon, good evening sa case may be, lalo na po dyan sa Estados Unidos, dito po sa aking kinalalagyan. Medyo madaling araw na. But yes, may mga nakatulin po. So salamat po sa pag-tune in dahil napakaganda po ng ating magiging usapin. Ito po ay naka-address actually sa mga Filipino-Americans na nakatira sa iba't pang estado dito sa Amerika, but specifically dito sa Los Angeles at sa bandang Southern California, Southern Nevada, Arizona, New Mexico, and Texas. Bakit po yan? Yan po kasi ang sakop ng ating konsulado dito sa Philippine Consulate General in Los Angeles, California. At hindi ko na patatagalin pa, nako Jam and ating mga sokmed dyan si Kim, gusto nating ipakilala at ang ating pinagpipitagang Honorable Ed Badajos. Siya po ang ating Consul General dito sa Philippine Consulate General in LA. So ibahagi mo na, Jam and Kim. Go.
Hi everyone, this is LOLLY ACOSTA, live from Los Angeles, California, the Philippine Consulate General, no less, because we will be doing an interview with our Philippine Consulate General, Badajos. So now we will know from him what really is his mandate in as far as he is the Consulate General, right? But we know him from way back in, before April 2021. He used to be our congen in the Middle East, Jeddah. So a lot of OFWs, we call them modern day heroes, and they're all, as far as I know, to my knowledge, they keep calling my program Sulong na Bayan in the DWIZ 882, and they say that our congen has been helping them. Otherwise, they will really have a hard time getting the ayuda, the help that they can get, and of course, the congen is always there to help them. But I have to ask, how has it been now in 2021, April 2021, when we were assigned here? How was it, your fake hearing?
Okay, so as you said, we already know each other from my Jeddah days, and as you know fully well how different the situation is in Jeddah when you compare it to the situation here in California in terms of the challenges being faced by our Filipino community. Whereas in the Middle East, in Jeddah, most of the problems are work-related. Here, we also have those issues, but not too many. Here, it's mostly about the delivery of consular services, specifically getting appointments for your consular services. So since arriving here in California in April, what I did was to immediately make plans on how to further improve delivery of consular services. Of course, we're coming from a situation wherein all establishments, including diplomatic missions, were affected by the pandemic. Okay, and therefore, all our planning had to take that into consideration. And well, since then we have adopted a number of measures like increasing the number of appointment slots here in the consulate for passport renewal, dual citizenship application, legalization of documents, and also the frequency of releasing slots for these consular services, and also the conduct of consular outreach programs, meaning these are mobile services outside of Los Angeles. And for 2021, we have actually lined up 11 such programs. So that's actually practically one outreach program almost every month for the whole year, right? 11.
I understand, Congen, you have one coming up in San Diego.
That's correct.
It will be a PCGLA outreach in November 6th.
San Diego. And after San Diego, we will have also another one in Las Vegas, and then Arizona, and I think one more. So that's three. That's it. And in addition to our outreach programs, we are also conducting consular Saturdays, meaning we open the consulate simultaneously as... Yeah. So you can imagine that our people are practically not sleeping anymore.
Just laughing.
So one group is working in, like for example, San Diego. Another group is also here in at LA, just serving Filipino members of the consulate.
So specifically, the services that you were like mentioning, are these all kababayans can avail of it?
Yes, of course. Dual citizenship, passport renewal. But you have to understand, Lolly, that we're not just issuing passports. We're not just processing dual citizenship. We're not just legalizing documents or issuing visas. We are also providing what we call assistance to nationals, meaning...
That's DFA.
Yeah, this is so much, and this is the bulk of our work in Jeddah, in the Middle East. Assistance to nationals, providing legal assistance.
That's cool.
Medical assistance to Filipinos who are in distress, meaning Filipinos who are in problems with the local laws, who get sick and can no longer pay for their medical expenses. We are doing this too, but this is hardly reported. And people believe that all we do at the consulate is issue passports, which is not true, right? And we also do what we call economic diplomacy. Kaya nandiyan sila Vice Consul Deliritan at Ms. Jos Leaño. We also do cultural diplomacy. So our task is multifarious, okay? Multitasking kami dito. And you have to understand that there are only 36 consulate personnel here versus 1.3 million Filipinos under our jurisdiction. So you're looking at a ratio of 1:30 to 40,000 Filipinos.
How can you sleep?
What is the ideal? What is the ideal
ratio
in a classroom? Mga 1:10 to 18 students.
So 1:36,000. That's
But your ratio here is 1:30,000, right?
Yes.
So what can I try to drive at? Our fellow Filipinos should at least understand, the situation that we are facing here, right? There has to be greater understanding and patience because we are doing everything we can to provide the best service that we can. To that. It is not in our best interest not to do what you are mandated to do, right? We are like fishes in an aquarium. Everybody can see us, right? And so if we relax and be complacent, then we can be noticed at any time.
So it's really like you have to double time. You were like mentioning only 36 people. So you're undermining. You're saying that.
Well, you know what? Undermine in the sense that we really need more people. But the way we operate in DFA is that we have what we call the ideal staffing pattern. That each consulate should only have this number of personnel. Because the number of personnel who can be deployed to any particular country is dependent on the principle of reciprocity. We have to get the approval of the host government. We cannot just say, okay, we need to send 1,000 personnel to us to
it has to be approved.
It has to be approved, right, by the U.S. Department of State.
So how many are they approving? This is the juiciest post, and we have 3 million.
Currently we have how many posts in the mainland USA? Five in mainland. Our embassy in Washington D.C. We have a new consulate in Houston. We have one here in LA. We have one in San Francisco, and we have one in Chicago.
In New York.
In New York, that's 6 pala. Six.
7 with Hawaii.
Including Hawaii.
Sir, if I may ask, your previous predecessor, they filed before a request for additional personnel.
We have. That's
So it's been
a recurring request by the consulate. But you know how it works. Of course, you don't know how it works. The budgeting process. It has to be proposed first internally to our bosses in the Department of Foreign Affairs. And then DFA will propose it to Congress.
And then the Senate.
And then the Senate, and then the
Approve the
President
budget.
will approve it.
Okay, now I
Yeah, see? So,
Tell us, Conjen.
Yeah.
There are like how many agencies in the Philippines?
Right.
We have DFA, Department of Foreign Affairs. We have POEA,
Right.
We have OWA, Overseas Affairs. We have DOLE. And now you're saying you have assistance to nationals.
Yes.
And then we have Commission on
Filipinos
OFWs.
overseas.
These are like, wow.
So, iba-ibang ahensya.
And we have LABA, Labor Associates.
Or under POEA and DOLE.
Right. So what are these? Are they all here in Los Angeles?
We have the Philippine Labor Officer here. Pero wala siyang OWA.
Okay.
Okay. So, may mga welfare needs. They need to be separately treated by I think OWA is in Washington, D.C. Right? Yeah.
And then we have DSWD, another.
Wala kami dito.
Why not?
Depende yan sa department, sa mother agency kung meron silang budget. Meron kami doon sa JEDA, Social Welfare Attaché. I guess it also depends on the need of the particular country. Because unlike in JEDA, here you don't see many welfare cases of one station.
What about you were referring, or you were mentioning about legal assistance?
Right.
So do we have one here?
Yes, we have. We're actually currently helping, I think, more than 30 Filipinos with legal cases. Okay.
What are the cases?
It's different types of cases. We have criminal cases. We have labor cases, civil cases. Pag labor naman kasi, at OFW, yung involved, POA should handle it, POLO. But now you have to understand that POA and the POLO, they have a technical definition of an OFW. These are people who were processed through POA. Okay, so not all workers in the US can be called OFW. Yung mga na-process lang ng POA yan, dumaan ng kanilang papeles sa POA. You know fully well that many Filipinos come to the US on an H-1 visa, choose a work visa. They are hired directly by the employers here, right? So these people are technically not what you would call OFWs. Kaya kung meron silang problema sa trabaho, pagsasabihin ng POLO, teka muna kasi hindi naman talaga OFW yan. Kasi hindi dumaan yung papeles niya sa akin. That's where we come in. So that's where the universe of workers overseas is how it is divided between DFA and the POLO. Right. Kaya ang ating DFA, nandun yung ating Migrant Workers Affairs Undersecretary, who administers two funds. One is the Assistance to Nationals Fund, and the other one is the Legal Assistance Fund. Okay? Sa Middle East, makikita mo talaga dyan. Kapag yung isang OFW ay naging undocumented na siya, hindi na yan hahawakan. Tutulungan pa rin ng POLO. Pero yung bulk of the work will not have to be handled by the ATN Fund or the Legal Assistance Fund. It's actually a beautiful setup. In fact, our system is a model being used by so many countries. Ginagaya tayo. We are the gold standard in terms of the way we deploy workers overseas because we have a very good setup, infrastructures on how we should help Filipinos who encounter problems while working overseas.
But I have to tell you that the grievances, the complaints is mounting every time we call the relatives in the Philippines will call. Alam niyo, ma'am, ang anak ko talagang kulang na kulang assistance. Hindi alam ng POLO. In fact, we have two POLOs yata in Jeddah. The other one just recently died.
Oo, sila ba? Munder. Kasi sa opisina niya.
So they were like, keep repeatedly saying, hindi yun namin, hindi kami ma-defensa. Kulang ang legal. Doon lagi nagkakaroon.
Well,
I don't want to. I'm just refreshing your.
Right. Yeah.
Kasi yun yung complaints
I know.
every single day.
But let me just make one comment there too. You have to understand that Saudi Arabia is 5 times bigger than the Philippines. Okay? Some personalities in the Philippines, including some media personnel, I'm not generalizing, believe that Saudi Arabia is just like the size of Quiapo. Na kapag may problema yung isang kababayan mo sa isang lugar, we can go there in an instant. No, you have to fly. You have to travel 10 hours by land. And then, it is also not correct to assume that if somebody, another Filipino is in distress, then you can go right away to his or her place of employment and retrieve or extract her from the employer's residence. Hindi pwede yan. Especially in the Middle East. So,
kaya nga sir, kailangan nila legal officer. Kasi alam mo naman ang mga Saudi Arabians and nationals there, pag international lawyer, pero pag wala, then there's
ang ginawa namin, I don't know if this is relevant to your interview, but what we did is to get the services of a legal detainer.
Not our nationality.
Hindi, because that's Saudi law. Sharia law yan. You need the expertise on Sharia law. So,
Do we have plans to at least deploy a legal officer from DFA?
no, there's a question about the practice of profession. We have naman legal officers. Like, sa atin, meron tayong legal officer doon. Yan na meron din yan. So, they assist as paralegals. But they cannot directly appear in court. It still has to be a local lawyer. Attorney.
Yeah, that's the sad part. Because, you know, the complaints are, you know,
Well, it's not mounting, but ang ano na din dyan is, we're talking of legal processes that cannot be completed in a day, right?
okay, moving. In May 2019, the Philippines became a party to the ACOSTA Convention. So I don't know what it is. Please explain to our listeners and viewers how does this work? Is there still a need for the authentication or the red ribbon from the issued by the consulate? And does an apostille document trump a notarized document?
I think trump would be a very interesting word, ma'am. Now, I understand that that's what they're asking. So the Apostille Convention, that was actually a very welcome development for us, because what it means po is people don't have to come to the consulate or to the embassy anymore. Yung sinasabi po nating red ribbon, actually, it's not the ribbon that makes the document official, it's actually our seal. But with the Apostille Convention po, that means, especially because the U.S., or in our case, we're here in Los Angeles, the U.S. is a party to apostille. So whatever is issued here in the U.S. that has been apostilled here in the U.S., pwede na pong diretso yung gamitin sa Pilipinas. Hindi na po idadaan dito. So in that way, that's us trying to streamline the process. It's us trying to make it easier, right? Ang nangyayari, syempre, we accommodate, right? May mga sigurista tayo. And so they would like to still have the red ribbon, they still have the seal, and that's when we legalize the notarized documents, which will also be accepted naman po. But this is why we always say na if there is something, you have a US document that's issued by the US, you can also get it apostilled in the US, in which case, accepted na po. Hindi na po kayo dadaan sa
That's a big burden.
Yes,
to line up here on
exactly. Especially with our space, as you've seen.
Ay matagal ng plano sa Pilipinas to accede to the Apostille Convention.
Kasi yun din. So, what else are you having problems with? What's the challenge? Madami rin.
As a newcomer, you can also share.
Kasi galing ka Mexico, I'm sure it's different.
It's very different. Yeah. So,
Napakadami na ng OFW na. 100.
so it's very different. And
200 yan.
we cover 10 countries naman. So it's very interesting for me as a newcomer nga that it's even just a region, no? Like we don't even cover Northern California. But I think yun nga po, the volume of the transactions, and yung sa amin, marami po kasi kaming dumadating dito, and we're always willing to help, right? We're always willing to help. Kaya po kami may information boost dyan, that's manned all the time. Pero sometimes kasi it's simple, let's read the website.
Yeah, I was gonna add that, Filipino are always having hard time kasi they don't look at the website. Everything's there.
Okay.
Yun ang ano ko dyan eh. Or just say
Everything's
something,
there.
you have all the time
Yeah.
to open your Facebook,
Why even,
to check your messenger, to text somebody, to do TikTok. You have all the
yeah, they
time.
need to,
Tell me
But
about it.
to spend just a few minutes opening a website so that you can, get all the information you need about passport renewal requirements, about dual citizenship, you cannot do it. Then you turn to the consulate, and then if you cannot get an answer, you blame the consulate.
yeah,
Yun lang po
they
yun.
don't do due diligence.
The due diligence.
That's it, as simple as that.
Due diligence and
Let your finger do the work. You click the website or decide the requirements, upload it, download it, and then come here.
So how
be
do you
prepared.
address that? Don't you have plans of enticing them, perhaps do a strategy and tell the Filipino communities here, this is how simple it is?
we do. We actually regularly issue public advisories telling them that, hey, all you need to do is visit our website, We regularly issue advisories that to get an appointment, you don't need to pay anyone, any intermediary, ganun yan.
Still, what I once witnessed, everyone was in line in Las Vegas, right? Your outreach there. But they're still unprepared. When they get there, they keep asking this, the things that they're supposed to download it or be prepared, wala. Then they get frustrated and then they blame the people there.
Salamat, sir. Thank you po.
Frustrating to our kababayan to come or that we have everything. Hindi ganun. Walang...
And if you think about it, courtesy din po to your, I'm sorry sir, to your fellow kababayans na did their homework and showed up with complete requirements. Kasi nauubos po yung oras namin explaining to someone na hindi kompleto, na naghihintay po doon yung tao who showed up on time, nakabook naman po ng appointment, and hindi naman po kami hindi naglalabas. It's our appointment system is controlled by...
And they have these 10 questions na I would assume you also did, and I have assumed that you'll my answer, ha?
Maybe I can work volunteer.
Yeah, sa outreach, pwede ka. Because most of the outreach are volunteers.
Yeah, we are, this New York, I think, on Asian Day, tell us what steps have the consulate done to address this order.
We have been talking to our fellow consuls general here. The LA Consular Corps actually is the second biggest in the world. So we have been talking to them on some projects that we can jointly undertake to address this issue. We have been dialoguing with local officials. We met with the sheriff's county office to talk about it, and we gave out numbers that our fellow Filipinos can contact should they encounter any of these incidents. If you do not wish to be known by the police or the sheriff's county, you can follow us anonymously. But they gave us numbers, email addresses, so you can send information about that. And we regularly issue public advisories for our community. Ultimately, kasi yung personal safety, it's a personal, diba?
Inherent something that you want to protect.
Correct. You don't go out at unholy hours, right?
And syempre kayo yung outer ego ng Pangulo.
Correct.
So, masyado ang expectation na
It is so high. Understandable naman.
The upcoming absentee voting, tell us, of course, iba yung sa JEDA last time. We voted in 2016. So, dito pa, sir, marami kayong mag-a-avail. What's in it? The right to suffrage?
Well, first, we don't use the word absentee anymore. It's just overseas voting. And then number two, new registration period ended on October 14. We began the registration period back in December 2019. Although we noticed an increase in the number of registrants in the last few days and weeks of the registration period, we are not really very happy with the turnout because, look, you have 1.3 million Filipinos, but the registration is only not even 1%. Maliit. So, ganito yan. What are they doing, You have this right that's enshrined in the Philippine Constitution to right of suffrage, and yet that right is not self-executing. You have to take a positive action. It starts with registration, right? But if you not even bother to register, and then you start complaining about what is happening in the country, parang may disconnect, di ba? You have to be civically engaged, right? And active. So that I will believe you. But if you cannot even take action to register as a voter, and then you talk to me complaining about what is happening back home, your credibility to me is very low. Right? Ganun yun Pag kita mo talagang involved ka, mag-rehistro ka, hindi ka nagre-rehistro Diba? But, well, given that tapos na yan, what we're hoping to happen next year during the election is that all those who registered will really exercise their right of suffrage, and not only will they exercise it, but to exercise their right of suffrage wisely. wisely.
Yeah.
I don't know if this is accurate, but somebody whispered to me just a few minutes ago that you guys are planning a legal project or something in San Francisco or New York. Or here, you have no...
Parang wala balita.
But you have to address those who are less fortunate, the less needy, that kayo yung legal.
We do that.
We do that all the time.
We do that all the time. Meron kaming mga webinars. In fact, we recently had one talking about No, you're right. Oh, we invited immigration lawyers, criminal lawyers.
Oh, I need that.
Sana napanood mo yan. It's recorded. Just
I'm sure it's in the dates that was...
Alam mo, isang mahalaga doon na natutunan ko rin, which is actually common sense. If somebody knocks on your door and claims that he is ICE, from ICE, and says that I want to go inside and search your home, often yung kababayan natin nangihinig ng takot na, uy, ang immigration ko. Sige, pasok ko kayo. Pasok ko yun. You have the right to say, to refuse. You have the right to demand, do you have a search warrant?
Yeah.
Right?
Kailangan talaga lack of information, you perish or you get victimized.
They don't, hindi naman, lack of information. Because they lack information, they are scared. They can be easily bullied. So yun, pinaliwanag natin. And also, ang common fear natin, kunyari, may in-abuse ka sa kalsada, you are now undocumented. Okay? Nabubuli ka ngayon, nakita mo yung police. Takot nga yung Pinoy na mag-report ng nangyayari sa kanya because undocumented siya. Ang ilang niya, baka pag nagsubok ka sa polis, ako ka ngayon ang mahuli, pag-deport.
Yeah, okay? The police are starting to do with your status.
Exactly, yeah. So ang sagot doon, you can report all the time. You must report to the police because he has nothing to do with your immigration. He cannot deport you. Okay?
No power to do that.
Cannot deport you.
So kanya-kanyang delineation.
Right. And third, and most important lesson that we learned from there is that when you're talking about deportation, removal cases,
long process,
you cannot demand that you be provided with a lawyer by the U.S. government. You have to pay for your own lawyer. And if your problem is about your immigration status here, like regularizing it, you cannot also demand that we help you. Hindi wala akong sa mandate.
Ng Philippine Consulate.
Like naging TNT ka, gusto mo ngayon maging permanent resident o gusto mo kumuha ng abogado para maging, huwag naman, diba?
Okay, talk about very quickly. Dual citizenship, ano po yan? Madali naman yan.
Okay, yung dual citizenship is an ongoing process. This is open to natural-born Filipino citizens who became naturalized here. So, kapag na-meet mo yung mga criteria na yun, then you, as an American citizen, Filipino citizen, who become an American citizen, can reacquire your Filipino citizenship. But you need to, you need to submit copies of your naturalization certificate and your birth certificate.
Proof of Filipino citizenship.
Proof of Filipino citizenship. And it should have come from the NSO.
Ano pong benefits?
You are restored to your full rights as a Filipino, full political and economic rights. And what do I mean by that? You can vote again in Philippine election.
That's the one.
You can run for an elective, but if you run for elective, you have to renounce your American citizenship. If you accept elective public post, you have to renounce your.
I'm sorry, Consulate. If you were elected, you have to renounce.
If you run,
not without, not even before you were elected or you won. You have to before the
qualification requirement. Yeah.
And the residency 6 months.
Yeah, of course, iba na yung mga residency rule. And then as a dual citizen, then you can again buy lands in the Philippines. Right? You can again practice your profession if you're a lawyer in the Philippines. Right?
I have one question. So if you're not a citizen, you have 2 properties, which is only residential. You cannot have that. As only residential, but not a commercial. But you're an American citizen.
By land, you cannot.
Land.
Land.
We're talking about land.
If you
Condo, walang
Condo.
Okay.
You can buy all the units in SMBC.
But land, no. You're not,
But, kapag bibili ka ng condominium, hindi mo rin pwedeng bilhin lahat ng unit. Kasi dapat,
magtira ka ng condo.
51% should be Filipino owned.
Oh, yes.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. Last parting shot. Tell us your message of hope. It's going to be Christmas around the corner.
We are very hopeful that before the year ends, the Philippines will also be able to fully reopen the economy. That we will also again be able to welcome anyone who would like to visit the Philippines without having to undergo quite difficult quarantine conditions. Right, it's now back to 5 days. So, and we're hoping for an improvement in our economy, and are quite optimistic about it. You know why? Because in the second quarter of 2021 alone, the Philippine economy, GDP, actually grew by 11.7%. And according to our economic managers, for 2021, the volume of foreign direct investments is actually increasing. And so it's parang paradoxical, di ba? We are going through a pandemic and yet you're seeing improvements. That's a classic manifestation of that. Where there is crisis, there is opportunity. So, ang sa ating mga kababayan, do not lose hope. But, kailangan namin kayo. And that is the reason why, pagdating sa election next year, you have to get involved. You have to make your voices heard. Right?
First, you must register.
Yeah, first you must, if you didn't register, it doesn't mean that everything is lost.
Yeah.
You can still contribute. How? Why? Because you're overseas. And there is a presumption that you still exert quite a strong influence over your friends and relatives at home.
Force to recommend.
Oo, di ba? Kayo siguro yung matatawag na intelligent voters, di ba?
Yeah.
So that you can tell them, pwede ba ito na lang gawin mong iboto mo? Pag yan. Di ba? Para naman matulungan ng ating bayan. Di ba? Our economy is doing quite well. Before the pandemic, we are actually the second fastest growing economy in Asia after China. But because of the pandemic, hindi tayo na-spare from the difficulties. Sumansad tayo. Di ba? But the Filipino is resilient. We have survived so many trials and challenges. Right? And we will do it again. Right?
Right. That brings to a close ang ating interview with the Philippine Consul Gen. Ed Badajos. Napakaganda ng sinabi niya. Talaga namang resilient ang Filipino. But we really have to work together as one. All right. We have to take a break. When we come back, we will tell you more about this new San Miguel MRT arrivals. So, sige. The Philippine Standard Time is 3:35 in the afternoon.
Si Miss Lolly Acosta, Sulong na Bayan sa DWIZ 882.
Right, nagbabalik ko muli ang ating programang Sulong na Bayan. Nakita nyo naman po kanina sa ating ibinahaging panayam sa ating Honorable Ed B. Badajos, ang ating Philippine Consul General dyan sa Philippine Consulate General in Los Angeles. Malinaw sa kanyang mga sinabi, resilient ang ating mga kababayan. Tayo po, buong Filipino, actually ay napaka-resilient. At siya mismo, as a diplomat, napaka-resilient din po niya dahil halos lahat nung siya ay naging consul dyan sa Jeddah ay hindi nga po ganun kadali ang kanyang mga naging experience dyan because again, ang Saudi Arabia, Kingdom of Saudi Arabia ay napakalaki as compared siyempre dito sa ating ngayong kanyang post dito sa Los Angeles. At again, ang kanyang advocacy ay talagang makatulong. Hindi naman po, malinaw sa kanya nung sinabi niya kanina na ang isang consulate general ay hindi naman or Consulate General Office ay hindi puro consular services. Di po ba? Nandiyan yung passport, nandiyan yung authorization ng mga ano-anong documents, o nandiyan din yung mga yung voters information campaign. Kailangan din yan ipalaganap. But more than that, yung mga distressed na kababayan natin, whether sila ay overseas Filipino workers or mga migrants na nandito na, syempre may kanya-kanya kung nagiging problema yan. At ito ang konsulado. Ito po ang ating good Consul General Ed Badajos to address kasi alam niya po kung paano ito i-handle dahil hindi po ganun kasimpleng experience ang kanyang naging advocacy sa Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. Napaka-bigat ang kanyang mga nakisalamuha doon. So, kayang-kaya niya po pang mga magiging magiging toward ng mga problema ng ating mga kababayan dito. So, abangan niyo siya sa November 6 and 7. I think meron silang outreach dyan sa San Diego. Again, naka-open po ang kanilang mga volunteers upang lahat naman po ng ating mga kababayan dyan sa bandang San Diego ay maka-avail ng mga services. And I'd like to thank ang kanyang new economic advisor, galing po siya sa Mexico since June. Liano. I'm not sure kung mapagpalit ko, but si Consul Valera was also there. So thank you for joining us in the interview. We had a mouthful, at least naintindihan natin ano-ano ang mga servisyong available dyan sa atin sa konsulado sa Los Angeles. At syempre, thank you, Ms. Quaresma. Siya po ang nag-coordinate ng aming interview with Conjen Ed Badajos. At kanya si Direct Con Sinel, ang ating fashion director, na nakauwi na ng safe. Oh, thank you, Lord. Nakauwi na siya kanina, lumapang kanya aeroplano ng sound and safe. Kaya lang, syempre po, naka-quarantine din siya, for another 6 days. At thank you, syempre, kanina nakasabay din natin si Mr. Virgil Obsina, isang CEO ng G-Co-op Company Skincare, at ganyan si Cora Miller, na siyang nandiyan din nakatutok sa ating interview, and si Roland Rivera, my brother. Okay, moving on. We are, I think San Miguel has a good, has a good service na pinag-iigi na nila talaga. Because itong second batch of MRT 7 trains, target nila yan by the end of 2022. So, they recently mounted 2 more brand new Hyundai Rotem train sets on the tracks of its 22-kilometer Metro Rail Transit Line 7. Ito po yung MRT-7 na project nila. Following the arrival of the first batch from Korea last month. So, the company expects to receive and install 6 of the total 36 sets before the year ends. And may I quote ang ating Chairman Ramon S. Ang, or SMC President, he said, work continues non-stop on the MRT 7 project. So we can meet our target start of operations by end of 2022. And I'm glad to report that we're on track, sabi niya po, to meet all the key milestones we expect this year. End of quote. That's our SMC President Ramon S. Ang. At he added, may I just continue dahil importante po maintindihan ng ating mga kababayan na itong mga ito ay nandyan na sa pipeline, in place na, talagang tinututukan po ng San Miguel. So sabi niya, and I quote, our ongoing MRT 7 project and other existing and planned mass transport systems should remain in the backbone of mobility solutions in the city, but we need to integrate these with other sustainable means of moving around to truly address the immediate concerns of the metropolis and best meet the needs of everybody. Alam po naman natin, syempre ang transportation ay backbone ng ating ekonomiya. Paano tayo makakasulong? Ang ating programa ay Sulong na Bayan, syempre kailangan magkaroon ng maayos na transportasyon. So similar to the first 2 train sets that arrived last September, ito daw pong mga darating na MRT 7 tracks between University Avenue and Tandang Sora last October 23 and October 24. So itong entire MRT system will have a total of 108 cars. And the much-awaited mass transit system, fully funded by San Miguel Corporation as a concessionaire, will serve thousands of commuters from North Avenue in Quezon City to San Jose del Monte in Bulacan. And I quote, sabi niya pa ulit, the process of unloading the trains from the ship, transporting them to the site, and placing them on the tracks is a meticulous process. Safety of people and the train sets are their priority. And he thinks he has gotten better at the process and looking forward to more efficiently doing this as more train sets arrive in the coming months. And the 2 train sets were shipped by manufacturer Hyundai Rotem from the Masan port. And it arrived in Manila last October 17. And further on, sinabi niya, as work on the MRT-7 project progresses further and faster, they will be able to increase the number of train shipments from Korea in the coming months and mount these on the tracks later on for testing. And in the meantime, they regularly inspect the trains and storage and are taking all necessary measures to properly maintain all train sets so they will be in tip-top shape. Kasi kailangan talaga maintain pala yan. Di naman pa pwedeng pag naka-imbak na yan dyan, antay na lang na somehow mag-deteriorate. Maya't tuloy-tuloy po ang kanilang random checking at saka syempre to make it or should be in the tip-top shape condition. So with the project, or actually with project completion at 56.03%, MRT-7 daw is in to start test runs by December 2022. Despite pandemic restrictions and pending right-of-way issues, the installation of board piles, girders, and other foundation works are actually going on smoothly. So a modern train system, MRT-7, construction also involves putting up electric power systems, computer and communication systems, signaling systems, and automatic fare systems, among others. And the chairman said that based on these reports of company engineers and personnel, the state-of-the-art trains are quite spacious and are akin to the trains that are currently being used in South Korea's modern railway system. Kung kayo po ay nakarating sa bansang Korea, ito rin po ang eksaktong nakikita niyong ginagamit na doon as means for mass transport. So, and I quote, sabi niya, people who have not been able to visit South Korea or travel around using its trains will be in for a great experience, whether they're commuting to work or school. And as we expect the economy to continue to open more, especially in the coming years, MRT-7 will be ready in time to serve the public as our economy rebounds and resumes growth. As actually on its first year of operation, the MRT-7 is estimated to accommodate 300,000 passengers per day, with a maximum projection of 850,000 passengers per day on its 12th year of operation. Given the need for social distancing and limited capacity enforced in public transportation amid the constant threat of COVID-19, they don't really expect to achieve these numbers right away. But rest assured, sabi po ng ating chairman, Ramon, the trains will serve their purpose of bringing more people from Quezon City to Bulacan faster and safer post-pandemic. And once completed, the MRT-7 will reduce itong maganda travel time from QC, from Quezon City to Bulacan, to just 35 minutes. Can you believe that? Ganun na lang kaiksi. Pre-pandemic and even at present, the daily commute along this route already takes hours with limited transportation options. Pero ngayon, ganun na kaiksi ang oras ng pagbiyahe. And the MRT-7 will have 14 stations. Ulitin ko lang po ito para malinaw sa ating mga kababayan mananakay. Quezon City North Avenue Joint Station at Quezon Memorial Circle, University Avenue, Pandansora, Don Antonio, Batasan, Mangahan, Doña Carmen, Regalado, Mindanao Avenue, Quirino Sacred Heart, Tala, and San Jose del Monte. So through the Quezon City North Avenue Joint Station, the MRT-7 will link with MRT-3 and LRT-1. So that's an awesome, incredibly organization na naplano ng ating presidente ng San Miguel Corporation. So hats off po kami sa inyo at nandito lang po kami para ipagkaloob din or ipagbahagi sa ating mga mananakay ang iba't iba pang magiging announcement nyo in the future. So thank you, Chairman Mamong of San Miguel Corporation, si Mr. Jason Bisuela, si Ms. Jane O'Connor Llanes, at kanya si Jackie Hidalgo, ang kanyang staff sa Media Affairs, and kaya na rin si si Joseph, John Ramos, at ngayon rin si John Hernandez, and then ang kanyang buong staff ng Media Affairs. Thank you so much. And talk about thank you, syempre gusto natin pasalamatan din ang Philippine Airlines, ang Vice President for Corporate Communications, no less than Miss Cielo Villaluna, for taking care of all my needs. And every step of the way, gusto natin maintindihan yung mga proseso bago umalis ang isang pasahero from LA, San Francisco, or Washington, or New York, na papunta dyan. Dahil ngayon pong Pasko, marami po tayong gustong umuwi. Yung aking mga nakapanayam dito sa Los Angeles at sa Las Vegas, sila ay excited na makauwi at makabisita at mag-spend ng Christmas dyan sa atin sa Pilipinas. So siguro sa Lunes, hopefully ay makapanayam natin at makasama natin si Ms. Cielo Villaluna, ang Vice President for Corporate Communications ng Philippine Airlines, at maintindihan natin sa kanya straight from the horse's mouth, so to speak, kung ano ang mga pagbabago o kung meron mang nagbago sa mga health protocol requirements o ano, paano tayo magko-comply. Kasi importante po na yan ay masunod natin kasi yan po ang mandate, requirement ng Philippine government. Hindi ka pwedeng i-board pala, hindi ka pwedeng makasakay ng aeroplano ng Philippine Airlines kung hindi ka fully compliant at hindi mo nasunod yung talagang requirements. So sayang dito ba? Napakabait po ni Michelle Villaluna, gusto niya explain in full, in detail at isa-isa kung ano po ang mga procedures. Again, for lack of knowledge, karamihan tayo ay nabibiktima. Hindi natin alam ang pwedeng gawin. So we have to be armed with knowledge. So importante po na kayo ay tumuhay sa aking programa sa Lunes. Para yung oras din po, 3 to 4. Nang sa gayon ay masabihan nyo na agad ang inyong mga kababayan nagbabalak umuwi sa atin sa Pilipinas. At napakaganda po ng serbisyo ng Philippine Airlines kasi every step of the way nandyan sila to really help you out. Siyempre sila po ang flag carrier at no-brainer naman na kailangan kababayan natin ang priority nila. Di po ba? Nakita ko kung paano nila silbihan. From the time na mag-touchdown ka dyan sa Tom Bradley Airport at sa LAX Airport actually, ay nandun sila, yung mga personnel nila, mga kawani at mga supervisors ay naka-attend ng gusto, lalong-lalo na dyan sa mga senior citizen na nakasabay ko from Manila. Alright, that's all the time we have. Thank you for joining us sa ating naging kaagapay. Sila Jam, si Kim sa social media, si narinig po kayo, I think si Jen Burgos yata yun, and then si Sir Alex Caldam, Juday, and rin si Micah, at si Engineer Jerry Barreto, and si Engineer Fred Villamala, Engineer Chelu, mga kasamahan natin dyan, at syempre, ang aking inaanak, si Engineer Mon Ibanez. Thank you for uploading my footage, At syempre, hindi na natin masasabing hindi natin siya papasalamatan. The big boss himself, Chairman D. Edgar Cabangon. As I always say, keep God first in every area of our lives so He will direct our paths. God bless everyone.
Si Miss Lolly Acosta, Sulong na Bayan sa DWIZ 882.